Have you ever woken up and noticed something felt off? A heaviness in your legs, a strange coolness in your hands, or maybe a quiet sense that your body just isn't responding the way it used to. For many men over 60, these small signs are easy to brush aside, but over time, they begin to take something bigger: energy, confidence, intimacy, and not just the physical kind, but the quiet connection between you and the one who's been by your side for years. The truth is, what you're feeling isn't just age catching up with you, it's your circulation changing, often without warning. Blood that once moved freely is now meeting resistance, and the areas of your body that rely on that steady flow are the first to feel the difference. You might feel colder, slower, even less like yourself. But here's the good news. This isn't permanent, and it's not something you have to accept. I'm Dr. Mark, and for more than 30 years I've helped men just like you rediscover strength, vitality, and the quiet fire they thought was gone. Not with prescriptions, not with procedures, but with one small, natural ritual that fits into your life as easily as pouring a glass of water in the morning. So what is it? And how could something so simple help restore the energy, clarity, and closeness you've been missing? That's what I'll show you in just a moment. Because once you understand what's really happening inside your body after 60, everything else begins to make sense. If you care about staying strong, sharp, and connected in the years ahead, take a breath, settle in, and stay with me. You're not alone in this. And what you learn today might be the turning point you've been waiting for. 1. Why circulation fades after 60. I'll never forget the morning Richard sat across from me, eyes tired, voice soft, and said, "Doc, I feel like I'm slowly disappearing." He wasn't battling an illness. He wasn't in pain, but something in him was fading. A quiet loss of presence, of vitality. His hands were always cold, his energy kept slipping away. And when it came to intimacy, he whispered, "It's like my body doesn't remember how anymore." He was 62, and over the years, I've heard that same quiet confession from dozens of men. Most of them were strong, once full of energy, desire, and purpose. But then, slowly, they began to lose something they couldn't quite name until it was gone. Here's what most men don't realize. Circulation changes are one of the most silent yet significant shifts after 60. We expect the gray hairs. We brace ourselves for joint aches. But no one warns us about what happens inside, how our blood vessels, the silent highways of life, begin to stiffen, narrow, and slow. Not because we've done something wrong, but because the body begins to produce less of a vital molecule called nitric oxide. This is the chemical that keeps our arteries open and relaxed. Without it, our vessels grow rigid, our flow slows, and the first places to feel the loss? Our hands, our feet, our brain, and yes, our most intimate places. Suddenly, fatigue sets in for no reason. Our thoughts feel foggy. The fire that once lit up at the mere thought of closeness starts to flicker. And it's not just physical. For many, this shift carries something deeper, a sense of losing connection to themselves and to the person lying beside them at night. I've seen men break down, not from pain, but from the quiet erosion of intimacy, of joy, of being seen. One man said to me, "I'm alive, but I don't feel like I'm living anymore." That hit me, because this isn't about vanity, it's about identity, about the sense of being a man in every sense, clear-minded, strong, connected, and fully present. And here's the truth I need you to hear. It doesn't have to be this way. Yes, your body changes. Yes, blood flow decreases. But no, this is not the end of your story, not even close. When I started researching natural ways to support circulation, I discovered that the body is far more resilient than we've been told. Even after 60, 70, 80, your blood vessels can come back to life. You can feel warmth return to your limbs, your thoughts grow sharper, your connection to intimacy and presence reignite. I began working with a simple morning blend, using ingredients that naturally support nitric oxide, that gently open up your vessels and invite your body to flow again, not through drugs, but through nature's design. And what happened next was beautiful. Men began reporting surprising changes. Their limbs weren't cold anymore. Their clarity returned. Their desire, the kind they hadn't felt in years, slowly came back. And for many, it started in just a few days, not months, days. So now you might be wondering, what is this glass I've been giving them each morning? What ingredients are in it? And how can something this simple make such a powerful difference in circulation? Intimacy and confidence. Stay with me, because I'll walk you through each ingredient step by step. They're not exotic or hard to find. In fact, they may already be in your kitchen, but combined with intention, these ingredients can change the way you feel, the way you move, the way you live, before this week is even over. And if something in you is resonating with this message, if you felt that quiet loss too, if you're ready to reconnect with strength and clarity, then I invite you to take the first step with me. Type the number 1 in the comments so I know you're here, still listening, still hopeful, and ready to take your health into your own hands. Because what's ahead isn't just a recipe, it's a chance to reclaim the version of you that's still alive and waiting just beneath the surface. Let's keep going. 2. The 1 glass morning ritual. It all began not with a breakthrough in a lab, but with a quiet conversation in a sunlit Mediterranean village. I had taken a trip years ago to study how certain communities seem to defy aging. What I found there wasn't some hidden technology or secret supplement. It was a way of life in one of those villages. I met Marco, a 74-year-old man who carried himself with the strength and grace of someone 20 years younger. He told me that every morning he chopped firewood, in the afternoons he tended to his garden, and at night he danced with his wife under the open sky. No medications, no procedures, just movement, connection, clean food, and one more thing he insisted on: a simple glass of something he called the fire glass. He drank it every morning before the sun was fully up, and he smiled as he told me, "This keeps everything moving, even the parts that forget how." Back home, I couldn't shake that image of Marco, so I got to work. I began experimenting with the ingredients he mentioned, blending his traditional wisdom with what we now understand from medical research. Slowly, I crafted something that worked, something that wasn't a supplement or a product to buy, just a mix of natural ingredients you can prepare in your own kitchen, using items that honor both nature and science. I call it the morning circulation glass. Here's what goes into it: 8 ounces of pomegranate juice, a deep ruby red drink bursting with antioxidants that help blood vessels relax and flow more freely. 1 teaspoon of beetroot powder, rich in dietary nitrates that the body converts into nitric oxide, the key compound that keeps your vessels open and responsive. 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, which supports the lining of your arteries and brings a cleansing lift. A small pinch of cayenne pepper to gently awaken your circulation. And if you like a bit of sweetness, a spoonful of raw honey to round it out. Together, these ingredients don't just support blood flow, they revive something deeper. Each morning, on an empty stomach, mix the ingredients in a glass, stir gently, and take a moment to really be present as you drink. Don't rush. Let it be a ritual, not just a routine. This is about more than nutrients. It's a message to your body, a declaration that you are not giving in to decline, that you still deserve vitality, warmth, intimacy, and strength. Some men notice their hands and feet feel warmer within days. Others find their steps lighter, their thoughts clearer, their confidence steadier. A few tell me their partners begin to notice something too, a change in posture, in mood, in the way they reach across the table and connect again. This isn't magic, it's circulation. And circulation is life. You're not just feeding your blood vessels. You're reminding your entire system that it's still capable of energy, of performance, of joy. That fire you thought was gone, it just needed fuel. 1 glass, 7 mornings. A small act of care that can lead to a renewed sense of power and presence. You might wonder why more men don't know this, why more doctors aren't talking about it. The truth is, many are too focused on fixing problems once they've gone too far. But you don't have to wait for something to break. You can choose to support what you already have, to wake up your body gently, one morning at a time. And yet, there is something just as important as what you add to your morning that we must talk about. Because even with this powerful ritual, many men are unknowingly doing things that quietly sabotage their circulation each day. That's what we'll uncover next. Because to fully reclaim your energy and intimacy, you don't just need to know what helps, you also need to understand what's quietly holding you back. Let's keep going. 3. What men are saying over the years. I've walked alongside thousands of men as they've tried to reclaim their energy, their confidence, and that quiet sense of dignity that sometimes fades as the body changes. And while every man's path is unique, there are moments that stay with me. One of them was with a man named Raymond. He was 68, recently retired from construction, built like a brick wall on the outside, but with a softness in his voice that revealed something deeper. When he sat down in my office, he didn't complain or dramatize. He simply said, "Doc, I don't want to be young again. I just want to feel like myself. I want to look at my wife and know that she still sees the man she married." That moment struck something inside me, because what Raymond was saying wasn't just about blood flow or energy. It was about pride. It was about connection. It was about the unspoken weight men carry when they feel they are slowly disappearing from their own lives. I handed him the morning ritual, explained it step by step, told him to give it one honest week. 4 days later, my phone rang. His voice was brighter. "Something's changing," he said. "My hands are warm again. I woke up before the alarm, and I didn't just feel awake. I felt ready." By the end of the week, his wife had leaned in over dinner and told him, with a smile he hadn't seen in a long time, "You seem lighter, like something's shifted." For Raymond, that was all the confirmation he needed. Not a chart, not a lab result, just a feeling, a return of presence. And Raymond's story is not the exception. It's one of many. I think of Leonard, a 72-year-old Navy veteran, who said he hadn't felt this mentally clear since his early 40s. For years, he would forget why he walked into a room or where he left his glasses. But after a few days with the ritual, he told me, "It's like someone wiped the fog off the glass. I feel sharp again." There's also Michael, 65, who wrote to me after just 5 days. His note was simple but powerful. "It's not just what I feel," he said. "It's what I see in her eyes. That spark is back when I walk into the room. She sees me again." And then there's Roger, a quiet 70-year-old from Michigan, who didn't say much at first, but when he did, he said something I'll never forget. It brought me home to myself. These moments might seem small from the outside, but to the men who live them, they are life-changing, because when circulation improves, it's not only about blood pressure or performance in the bedroom, it's about how you move through your day, how you speak to the people you love, how you carry yourself when no one is watching. It's about standing a little taller, feeling a little more alive. One man said, "I didn't realize how much I had lost until I started getting it back." That's the power of this morning ritual. Not to rewind time, but to help you reconnect with what never truly left. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming the version of yourself that still wants to lead, still wants to love, still wants to feel strong. That's why I share these stories. Not to sell hope, but to show proof. Real men, real results. Not perfect, not instant, but real. Now that said, there is something important I need to share. Because while many men feel a shift within days, others struggle to notice any difference at all. And at first, I couldn't figure out why. But after years of paying close attention, I discovered a pattern. The men who didn't feel the full benefits were often doing a few quiet things that were getting in the way. They weren't mistakes you'd notice right away. In fact, many of them thought they were doing everything right. But these habits were quietly blocking progress. Once I helped them spot and fix these simple patterns, things began to change quickly. Hands warmed up, legs felt lighter, mornings felt clearer, and most of all, belief returned. Belief in their body, belief in their strength, belief that this chapter of life could be filled with presence, not decline. And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. The 3 most common hidden mistakes that could be holding you back. If you're still with me and this message is striking a chord, let me know by typing the number 1 in the comments. That way, I know you're here, engaged, and ready to take the next step. Let's keep going. You're closer than you think. 4, 3 mistakes that sabotage male circulation over the years. One of the hardest things to witness in my practice is this. Men who are genuinely trying. They come in with hope. They follow the morning ritual. They clean up their eating. They take walks again after years of neglect. And yet, for some of them, the results feel slow, slower than they expected, slower than they deserved. I used to feel frustrated for them. I'd wonder, where's the missing piece? But the more I listened, the more I asked the right questions, the clearer the picture became. There was a pattern, and that pattern revealed 3 small but powerful habits quietly holding these men back. The first one is hydration. It sounds almost too basic, I know, but it is one of the most misunderstood elements of healthy circulation. Blood is made primarily of water. When the body lacks enough of it, the blood thickens, the flow slows, energy drops, mental sharpness fades, even intimacy becomes harder to access. I've had to remind dozens of strong, capable men that coffee and tea don't count. They dehydrate more than they help. Your body needs real water. Every cell, every vessel, every spark of vitality depends on it. Without enough water, your blood cannot carry oxygen or nutrients properly. And if your blood stalls, so does everything else. The second mistake is the trap of sitting too long. It's become almost invisible in today's lifestyle. I think of a man named Leonard, a retired teacher who told me he spent most of his day reading, doing crosswords, or watching sports. All good things, but hour after hour in the same chair, that has a cost. When we sit too long without moving, circulation slows, blood pools in the lower body, muscles stop engaging, vessels lose the pressure they need to stay elastic and strong. I told Leonard, just set a timer. Every hour, stand, stretch, walk to the kitchen, step outside if you can. That tiny change shifted everything. Within a week, he said his legs felt lighter and his thoughts more alive. The third mistake is the silent one, stress. Not the kind you vent or shout about, the quiet kind, the kind that sits behind your eyes and in your chest. Financial concerns, health fears, loneliness. These worries elevate a hormone called cortisol, and cortisol tightens blood vessels. Even if you're eating clean, moving daily, and drinking plenty of water, if stress is left unchecked, your body stays in defense mode, and that state chokes circulation. That's why I always suggest finding a moment of stillness, deep breathing, gentle prayer, writing in a notebook, or simply sitting on a bench and watching the wind move through the trees. Peace is not a luxury, it is medicine. Once these 3 areas were addressed, something powerful began to happen. The men who had hit a wall started seeing real change. Their hands weren't cold anymore. Their steps felt more steady, their minds sharpened. But more than all that, belief returned. The belief that they weren't past their prime, that this chapter of life still had energy, connection, and confidence to offer. That change wasn't just possible, it was already happening. And this brings us to the final truth, a truth I've come to hold above any ingredient or routine, something I want to share with you from the heart. Not as a doctor, but as someone who's seen what happens when a man decides to believe in himself again. Let's talk about that next. After more than 30 years walking alongside men just like you, I can say with full confidence that aging is not the enemy. What truly dims a man's light is when he stops believing in the strength still within him. But I've seen what happens when that belief is restored. I've watched men stand taller, speak more clearly, and reconnect with the quiet fire they thought they had lost. That spark doesn't fade with age, it waits. And when you choose to show up for your body again, it returns. We started this journey talking about circulation, but as we went deeper, it became clear that what we're really speaking about is connection to your body, to your partner, to your purpose. This one glass each morning is not just a mix of ingredients, it is a declaration, a reminder that you still matter, that you still want to show up fully, that you are still here and still alive. You've learned why blood flow fades after 60 and why it's not just aging. You've seen how a simple morning ritual can make a difference, using ingredients already in your kitchen. You've heard the voices of real men who felt their energy return and saw their relationships brighten. And you've discovered the silent habits that quietly block progress, like dehydration, long sitting, and unspoken stress. But above all, I hope this message reminded you that it's not too late, not even close. You don't have to surrender to decline. You don't have to pull away from the life you built or the people who still need you. Healing has no expiration date. Growth can happen at any age, and intimacy, connection, and strength never disappear. They simply wait for you to come back to them. So tomorrow morning, when the light comes through your window, pour that glass, drink slowly, stand up with intention. Let it be a moment of choice, a quiet, powerful promise to yourself. Because you are not done. You are not fading. You are just beginning again. If you found this helpful, take a second and type "still here" in the comments. It lets me know you're walking this path with me. And if you want more science-backed guidance to help you stay strong, clear, and connected as you age, feel free to subscribe. There's so much more I want to share with you. Your best years are not behind you. They're waiting for you to meet them. I'll see you in the next video.